And just so you guys know, it's storming here where I live in Columbus, Georgia. Well, I don't live in Columbus, Georgia. I live just outside of Columbus, Georgia. Anyway, it's storming here, so hopefully my PowerPoint and everything will not be affected. Okay, so this meeting is now being recorded. And what I'm going to do is the 5-week folks, you guys just started today. So I'm going to do a welcome session for you, but first I'm going to go over something for the 6-week folks. And I have 2 students here, Avery and Akila, who are... so can you guys see this PowerPoint that I just enlarged? It should be taking up the full screen. Great. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this PowerPoint real quick. And so what we're talking about this week is citizenship. That's kind of where we are in our content. And so I want to talk a little bit about what it means to be a good citizen of the United States. So I think it's important to understand that citizenship has both responsibilities and duties. So as a member of a community, and a community can not just only be, your neighborhood, but also your town, your city, your state, your country, we have responsibilities. And these are things that we should do, or we have obligations that we fulfill voluntarily. We also have duties, and these things are something that we are required to do. So there's a difference between duties and responsibilities. We have legal duties that we must fulfill, not only to our local governments, but also the national and the state. And sometimes if we don't fulfill these, we can face fines. So let's talk about some of these duties that we have. Obeying the law is the first one. Okay. These laws, they provide serve a specific purpose. They help us all get along and prevent accidents and make sure that resources are used fairly. I know, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be a state law, but I could be wrong on this. There's a law that's going into effect on July 1st about texting and driving. Are you guys aware of that? And there is a whole list of different things that you can't do while you're driving. So these are things that, because we want to... Yeah, I think so too, Avery. I just thought about it off the top of my head. I think there's no kind of touch tone like touching your phone when you're driving. It has to be hands-free. And so I believe it's a state law as well. These are the kind of things that we're all going to have to adhere to. And if we don't, then we're going to get a fine for not doing that. But that's not just to keep us safe. That's also to keep other people safe. So that's some of the things that laws and duties do for us. You have a duty to pay taxes. Nobody likes paying taxes. Maybe you guys don't pay taxes yet. You do if you have a job somewhere. Nobody likes doing it, but let's face it, taxes, that's the way that the government puts things in place that help us live a better life, like roads. Armed forces, money for the police and the fire department. Those things are paid for by our taxes. We all pay income taxes. That's a percentage of what you earn. And some of that goes back into the government for the common good. Also, you have to pay taxes on things like goods and services and also on property. Here's an example of a pay stub showing all the taxes that have been taken out. And a receipt from a bookstore in North Carolina. Um, so there's some sales tax, 6.75%, that's paid, and then that sales tax goes back into the state to help do different things for the state. Another duty that males have is to defend the nation. So all men age 18 to 25 must register with the government, the Selective Service. Oops, excuse me. And if by chance the government decides to enact the draft, they will call up men on this selected service to serve in the military. If you're thinking to yourself, this is kind of far-fetched, that it will never happen, trust me when I say it really wasn't that long ago that the United States did in fact have a conscripted or a drafted military service. Since about, I believe it was early 70s, I want to say like 72, maybe 73, we've had an all-voluntary army. In other words, if you want to, people who are in the military today went in because they volunteered to go. Nobody forced them to go. Or said, as a result of you being a citizen here, now you have to serve in the military. Okay. All right. And my dog is fussing to get out. Okay. Okay. Did one of you text me or say something? Got a message on my Apple Watch. I'm not sure. It's hooked up to my phone. Avery, did you text me? Or Akila, did you text me? No? No? Okay. Okay. All right. Serve in court. Every citizen who is registered to vote also needs to be prepared to serve jury duty. I can tell you right now, I've been a registered voter since 1984, and I have never ever been called up for jury duty. I don't know. It's just never been called. I don't know why. But should I get a summons to serve on a jury, it will be my responsibility to go and serve. Okay. Attend school. There's a couple of reasons why you will need to attend school. Okay. First of all, it's the law. You have to attend school. But also, why do you think they made it a law? Why do you think it is in our best interest to have an educated public? And while you're pondering that and writing it in, I'm going to go let Rupert out. Rupert, you're a pain. You know that? Go. Sorry about that. Yeah, exactly. It helps your economy to have an educated public, right? It helps your military to have an educated soldier, right? So you do better as a country, as a nation, if you have an educated public. That's why it's a law. This is an old graphic. It's from 2005, but it kind of gives you an idea of yearly earnings when you have an education. If you don't have a diploma at all, like I said, this is old. The average salary in 2005 was about $20,000, whereas compare that to advanced degrees, okay, where you're making almost $80,000. So it certainly does benefit you to go and continue further your education. You too, are you planning to go to college after high school? Not that you have to go to college in order to make money. You could also go to vocation school and learn some kind of trade. But it would certainly help you to be able to learn something. Oh, accounting. Yeah, Avery, you'll be counting everybody's money. Okay, so what kind of responsibilities do we have? Well, we have a responsibility to be informed. You have a responsibility to know what your government is doing, to learn about issues and leaders. You do this by reading print publications like newspapers or listening to the radio or TV. You know, this particular slide only has 2 cable channels listed right here. Those are not the only places you can get information. You know, in my hometown, the city council meetings are televised. Okay, and then recorded and played at a later date. Those are the ways that you find out what's going on in your community. If you live near a college or a university, often they will have talks and lectures about what's going on. You have a responsibility to stay informed and know what issues. Particularly if you're going to vote for somebody, you want to know what issues are being considered and how your candidate feels about those issues. Which brings us into our next slide. So our government is us. We are the government. A lot of people don't think that way, but in fact, that's what the government is supposed to serve us. But you have to make your concerns known. You can write your representatives. You can send emails. You can join a political party or work for a cause. If you ever get an opportunity to do that, there's political parties in your hometown, whichever side you fall on, Democrat or Republican or some kind of independent. There are political parties in your hometown. I encourage you to go down and work for them. Spend some time down there. I promise you, you'll have a great time doing that. I had the opportunity to go see when the last gubernatorial election was going on. I had the opportunity to go and listen to the debates between the candidates, and it's just a fun thing to do, even if you don't really haven't made up your mind yet. It's just a fun thing to go to. Above all, you should, when you become the age, you should vote. This gives your consent to government to do things. You should also, like I said before, study the candidates before you cast your ballot. Know who you're voting for. I know some people who go into the voting booth and say, well, I'm just going to vote Republican all the way down. No matter who they are. If they're Republican, I'm going to vote for them. That's just not a very smart way of electing somebody. You should know who you're voting for. Another responsibility that we have is to respect each other and their rights. Respect public property, the property of others. Not only are vandalism and littering disrespectful, but they're also crimes. If you get caught doing that, you could get in trouble. Respect diversity. It's perfectly fine to disagree with people. You could even disapprove of somebody's lifestyle if you so choose, but you have to recognize the fact that they have an equal right to their beliefs and their practices. You have a responsibility to practice tolerance, accept others, regardless of what they believe. it's important that all citizens are equal and entitled to the same treatment. There are civic responsibilities. We should all contribute to the common good. This is through usually some kind of service in your community. Contribute your time, your effort, your money, if you have some money, to improve your community. Be an active participant in your community. And this can take on several different forms. Nobody says that you have to go and pick up trash on the side of the road if that's not what you want to do. Maybe you want to go recycle, or maybe you want to go walk dogs at the local shelter or something like that. Whatever you feel comfortable doing to help give back. So here are some rights and duties and responsibilities. They're kind of laid out in a little chart right here to kind of give you an idea of the differences in all of these. So what do you think is the most important responsibility of citizens? What's most important out of everything I just talked about? What's most important, do you think? Voting, paying taxes, right? Yeah, we don't like paying taxes, but we think it's a necessary evil. A lot of times. But hey, I don't like paying taxes, but I sure like driving on that smooth road. Right? So yes, respecting and accepting diversity. That's so important. Nobody says you have to agree with your fellow man, but you do have to be able to defend their right to say or feel or practice, whatever they choose to, if it's within the constraints of the law. It's important to be involved in your communities. It's important to volunteer, to work at the federal, the state, the local government. Many of these organizations offer different services. We also have a role in meeting community needs. Don't forget that governments are what's known as bureaucracies. They are complex systems, lots of different rules, departments, people, and the chain of command. You don't get, one answer quickly. It has to go through several different people. If you don't know that now, wait till you get to college. And you'll really understand what a bureaucracy is. It's important to be involved, though. Good citizens are concerned about the community, the welfare of all members. When I say welfare, I mean health, prosperity, happiness. It was John F. Kennedy, who's pictured right here, that said, "Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country." Okay? Don't sit back and expect your country to always provide for you. Decide that. There's something that you can do to contribute, regardless of what that is. We all have different talents. Find yours. Some way you can donate time and money. Volunteerism is this practice of offering your time and services to others without payment. Community involvement. Joining a community watch program, become active in your school. There are different charitable organizations like what's listed here. There's tons of charities that are registered with the federal government that you can become a part of. There's school-based programs. Do either one of you have any programs at your school that you participate in? Maybe it's feeding the homeless or working with some kind of animal organization or collecting items to help other people. Do either one of you have that at your school? Have you participated? Oh, yeah, DECA. Yeah, that's good. This is something that should be an ongoing part of who you are. And I gotta say, National Honor Society, how do you feel when you help people in these organizations? How does it make you feel when you go out and do something to help somebody? Yeah, a little bit at a time, right, Avery? Just changing their life. Yeah, it's a different experience. Not too long ago, I was in line at Starbucks, and when I was at the drive-through, and it became my turn to go up and pay, and the lady said, "The person in front of you paid for your your purchase," and it made me feel good. And then I said, "Well, let me pay for the person behind me," and then she told me how much that was. And I went ahead and paid that. It's paying it forward, so to speak. But it makes you feel good, right? I mean, who's to say that the person behind me really needed a cup of coffee to get through the day, and spent their last $3 or $4 trying to get it. I gave them a little bit of relief. That makes me feel good to do that. So there are some national service programs. Here's a few that you can become a part of. I would just encourage you, both of you are really young. If there are things that you think you might want to try to help with service, I would encourage you to go out and work a little bit. You may get involved with something and then realize, no, that's not for me, and that's perfectly okay. We all have different gifts. But if you find something that you enjoy doing, I would encourage you to continue it. It's important that we all help each other in these times. Life's not easy for anybody, believe me. So if you can give a little bit of relief, that's a good thing. Okay, so that's my last PowerPoint for you week 6 people. I say to you, thank you for coming, ladies. I appreciate you showing up. I'm going to talk about the welcome session for the 5-week people for the rest of this PowerPoint. You can continue to stay. Do either one of you have a question for me that I can answer? Thank you, Akila. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. All right, Avi. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over our welcome session. This is for the 5-week people. You're just starting today, so I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about how to work American government. Now, first thing you'll see here is 2 names on this PowerPoint, Ms. Stokes and Ms. Irving. The reason there are 2 names here is because the summer session, we're required to do 2 of these live chat sessions. And so Ms. Irvin is also teaching American government. And so she's going to do one at Wednesdays at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I do the other one on Mondays at 6:30. So you can come to either one. Either teacher can answer a question for you about the content, about how we're learning American government. But if you have a specific question about your grade, then you should ask your individual teacher. Okay. I think I just went over that. Who's who in this American government. So here's our contact information. There's Ms. Irvin's contact information, and here is mine. I'm Ms. Stokes. Mondays at 6:30. So the first order of business is to take a look at your schedule, your syllabus. In just a moment, I'm going to show you where you can find that. And let me know if you have any questions. So there are some different ways. We've got the course schedules color-coded. I'll show you that in just a second. And that's going to help you read that course schedule. It would be helpful if you printed off your course schedule and follow it. The assignments are due each school day by midnight. If you have questions, please ask. Don't make assumptions. What about vacation? Well, it's summertime. I know you probably have a vacation scheduled. What you would need to do is work ahead. Okay, I cannot accept late work. And a vacation is not an excuse for late work. So no extensions are going to be granted for late work. So the late work policy is that each assignment is due daily at midnight. And work that's turned in after the deadline on the course schedule will be accepted within 2 school days with a late penalty assessed. Late penalties are deducted at a rate of 25% of the assignment value per school day. So work due on Friday that's submitted Saturday, Sunday, or Monday is considered 1 day late. At the end of the semester, all the coursework must be submitted prior to the time period of the final exam. Also, it's important for you to remember that you're taking an online class. Technical difficulties are not an excuse for assignments to be late. You need to have access to a computer. It's your responsibility to secure a backup for computer options. And you can do this through going to the library, or maybe you have a hotspot on your phone. But that's your responsibility. So if you don't turn in your assignments because your power went out, that's not an excuse. You're expected to go somewhere where there is power. Go sit in the parking lot at Chick-fil-A or whatever it is you have to do in order to get your assignments done. As you can hear, it's thundering here where I am. So all Georgia Virtual School email correspondence are going to be sent through the student's Georgia Virtual School email account. If you, in just a moment, I'm going to show you where you can get help if you need it while accessing that. It's important that you save and close your documents, or save your documents in a common file format, as you see here. If you turn in an assignment and I can't open it, what's going to happen is I'm going to say that file I couldn't open that file. You have 2 school days to get it into me, okay? And I'll put a 0 in the grade book until you resubmit the document. I expect you to do your own work and not work that other people have completed for you. You know what plagiarism is. There are consequences. They are outlined in the student handbook. Make sure your work is yours alone. And if you need to cite something, make sure you cite it. So if you have questions as we are working the course, there's the help button. You can get help by going there. You can also look at the student handbook or the student information notebook, also the student toolbox. Remember, Georgia Virtual School is best accessed through Mozilla Firefox or Chrome. Both of these are free downloads. It's important that if you're having trouble accessing or using our system, you may want to check to see which browser you're using. If you're using something other than Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, then that's probably the reason for your trouble. I will only correspond with you through your Georgia Virtual School email, so it's important that you check email daily. We have an automated system that will send grade notification emails to parents on Tuesday, excuse me, on Thursdays. These synchronous sessions that you're in, they're also called live chat sessions. These are on Mondays and Wednesdays, as I mentioned before. If you can't make the session, they're recorded, and the recording links are posted under user links. If you have a question about content that you want me to cover in a synchronous session, you can email it to me, and I will talk about it when the synchronous session occurs. Here is how your grades will pan out. Coursework and quizzes are worth 30%, discussions 10%, tests and project 40%, and the final exam is worth 20%. Assignments are going to be graded within 1 school day of being submitted. Zeros will be entered for incomplete work. Look at all feedback on quizzes, discussions, and Dropbox items. Don't hesitate to ask if you have questions about grades. All right, let's look at a Georgia Virtual School course. Okay, so as we're sharing our desktop, so I actually kind of want to bring this back. Maybe I can just slide it over. Okay, yes, my dogs are angry. Okay. So let me go into my American government class. So this is our course homepage right here. It looks a little bit different because this is the instructor view. Let me switch it to a student view. It'll make more sense to you real quick. Okay, this is probably what you see. Every day I post what is due. Okay, this is for the 6-week folks. So if you're a 5-week person, you're not seeing this. What you're seeing is this right here. Okay. My information is here. Here's that 5-week schedule. Again, my course information. And here's your schedule right here. See, it's color coded. So all of our discussions are going to be in purple. The classwork's going to be in green, and so forth and so on. If you look right here at the top, there are different buttons for you to access different things. Under assessments, if on your schedule it says you do a discussion or a Dropbox item or a quiz, this is where you access it right here. To learn American government, you click on course materials. You don't necessarily have a book, but what you will do is click on content. And here are the different content units that we're studying, the first being Foundations of American Government. If I come right over here, complete pages 1 and 2, this opens up our course and the different pages you go through to find out how to do assignments and learn American government. You go through each one of these pages, and it's going to show you how to, what to read, what kind of quizzes, and as you go through the different assignments, so I'm right here at page 7, right here, page 7, okay? So that's how you learn American government. And I got there by going to course materials and then content, and then I just clicked on that very first link. Course materials, content, Foundations of American Government, and then I clicked right there. Okay? Here's that student resources that we talked about earlier. To get back to the course homepage, you just click on the course title. To set up your Georgia Virtual School email, you can click right here. And to sign the acknowledgement form, you can access that there. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and go back to my If you need more help navigating your course, here's some help sessions that you can attend. But most important, remember that I'm here to help you. I want you to succeed. Summer's fast and furious. We're only down to 5 weeks. That's about a little more than a month. It's important that you reach out to me if you need help. Please don't hesitate to contact me. More importantly, let's have a great semester. Thank you for attending.